Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
The second trailer for The Batman has arrived. Here's our full breakdown of the new footage, from plot details and story reveals to hidden details shedding more light on Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne. The Batman has changed immensely since 2014, when Warner Bros. greenlit the Caped Crusaders' first live-action solo movie since The Dark Knight Rises. Initially intended as a DCU entry with Ben Affleck on both sides of the camera, The Batman was to feature Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke and pay off the Justice League post-credit sequence. Due to studio restructuring and an overhaul of the DCU direction, however, The Batman is now a standalone movie directed by Matt Reeves and starring Robert Pattinson in the title role. The Batman's first trailer released in August 2020, and offered an early glimpse at Pattinson as arguably the most brooding, dark, tortured Dark Knight ever to grace a cinema screen. Still in the early stages of his crime-fighting career, Batman teams up with Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon as the Riddler. Paul Dano embarks on a killing spree of public figures, communicating with Bruce via his traditional method of clues and puzzles. The trailer included brief looks at Colin Farrell as Penguin and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, and though the Butler stayed off camera, we know Andy Serkis plays Alfred Pennyworth. After a hugely successful debut event in 2020, DC Fandom is back for 2021. Last year's online convention found an innovative way to provide fans with all the latest DC news, updates and trailers at a time when physical gatherings were tricky. The format was widely hailed as a triumph, and returns for a second year, putting The Batman top of the bill. Here's our complete breakdown of The Batman Trailer 2. Since Matt Reeves took charge on The Batman, the director has been busily crafting the most noir-esque environment any cinematic Bruce Wayne has dwelled within thus far. The opening shot from The Batman's second trailer highlights exactly why, depicting the noir-esque of noir settings imaginable. A dingy backstreet cafe on a rainy, fog-filled night is lit only by the neon lights and curved glass windows. It's a typically Gotham-esque collision of downbeat and savvy with the ever so slightly futuristic, a neat visual metaphor for the city's economic disparity. The Batman's previous trailer revealed a first look at Paul Dano's Riddler, but only wearing a rudimentary mask that a Slipknot percussionist would be proud of. The lad drinker in the second trailer's diner is Edward Nashton, the Riddler himself, and though we don't get a good look at his face, the heavy police presence and foam art are solid clues. Jim Gordon can be seen leading the squad that brings Riddler in, but the ease with which they do so is highly suspicious. One would expect this capture is all according to Nashton's supercerebral plan. After the obligatory DC and W logos, the Batman's second trailer gives a clear look at the new Bat Signal atop GCPD headquarters, with Jeffrey Wright's Jim Gordon firing up the iconic beacon. This Bat Signal is simply a large chunk of metal vaguely resembling a bat shoved into the center of a searchlight, creating the most rudimentary live-action Bat Signal yet, apart from Christian Bale using an actual criminal. The amateurish signal not only demonstrates how grim Batman is within the vigilante game, but also how grounded and realistic Matt Reeves' vision for the Batman is, even compared to Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy. Related, why Pattinson's Batman can embrace Nolan's first Dark Knight mistake ahead of DC Fandom 2021, a short teaser revealed more of Robert Pattinson's Batman voice, and fans responded with delight on social media. The trademark deep, gravelly tones are present, but where some past actors have sounded in desperate need of cough syrup, Pattinson's voice possesses a much more natural quality. As for the content, Fear is a tool speaks to Batman's tactic of striking fear into the city's criminals, while his next line about the Bat Signal acting as a warning cements Pattinson as the most violent, dangerous cinematic Batman yet. Looking up at the Bat Signal is none other than the man himself, Robert Pattinson in full costume. It's clear that the core is very low-tech, and the whole ensemble brings a homemade feel that's nothing like the suites of armor audiences have come to expect from big-screen Batman. Particularly interesting is that, despite the Batman aiming for a very grounded aesthetic, the most comic book-esque elements of Pattinson's costume, namely the pointy ears and cape, are actually exaggerated. Matt Reeves is brewing an intriguing visual mixture of Christopher Nolan and Tim Burton, especially in the costume department. The first enemy spotted in the Batman trailer 2 are the same villains glimpsed in previous footage, Gotham gangsters wearing clown-like white face paint. There is no obvious counterpart in DC Comics that might identify this group, but, of course, wherever there is clowns in Gotham City, Joker usually isn't far behind. Chances of the Clown Prince himself appearing in the Batman are slim, but DC goons may confirm his presence in the background, paving the way for Joker's debut in a sequel. Other rumors suggest the Batman may be somehow connected to Joker, despite the timeline difference, and criminals wearing clown face paint would support that theory. Actors are lucky to receive one call-up into Batman's live-action universe, let alone two, but that's the situation Jay Licurgo finds himself in thanks to near-simultaneous appearances in both Titans and The Batman. Licurgo debuts in Titans Season 3 as Tim Drake, the third official Robin. In The Batman, is among the clown-faced gangsters getting blood-eyed and bruised at the hands of Robert Pattinson. Licurgo's movie role is almost certainly smaller than the Tim Drake Titans hey, but his The Batman character may hold some deeper significance that's hidden in the trailers. Related, how Affleck's movie would have been different from Pattinson's The Batman given how basic Robert Pattinson's Batman costume is compared to his fellow cinematic superheroes, it's only natural to assume he'll be more vulnerable to attacks. The Batman's second trailer proves otherwise. Facing off against the clown-painted criminals, Batman's gear absorbs several bullets in quick succession, with Bruce barely getting knocked back by the blasts. The Batman may take place during the DC superheroes' early years, without the bells and whistles he'll later add, but Bruce isn't taking any chances with Gotham's gone-to-things comebacks. In one of several impressive action scenes teased by fandom's The Batman trailer, Robert Pattinson takes on a dozen or so clown gangsters at a rainy subway station using nothing but his fists. Almost. Pinning one criminal against a pillar, Batman emits an electrical charge into the villain's neck, suggesting the Dark Knight's either wielding a taser, or as one secreted within his gauntlets. Though the shock doesn't look fatal, it's certainly unusual to see Batman carrying such weaponry when a solid punch to the face usually gives the same result. Bruce's taser is yet another example of how the Batman's title character cranks the violence up several notches. When it comes to Batman movie interrogations, it's impossible not to think of the Dark Knight's iconic confrontation between Christian Bale and Heath Ledger's Joker. The Batman has its own version, with Robert Pattinson visiting a patient whose face is obscure. Given the circumstances, Riddler is the most obvious guess and, if so, the Batman's marketing is making great effort to obscure the villain's face. That's pretty suspicious. Although the setting is unclear, Riddler's jumpsuit appears to read Arkham Hospital, though it could also say, Gotham, which could mean, Asylum has been dropped due to the outdated connotations. Batman screams "What have you done?", which supports the theory that Riddler lets himself be captured after laying the necessary pieces of his scheme. Batman's rage in this scene shows how deeply Paul Dano's Riddler is getting under the vigilant's skin. Riddler, meanwhile, claims he's been trying to reach Batman, referencing the greetings card clue from the previous trailer. Related, Jeffrey Wright's upcoming Batman role is a big DC first immediately after Batman screams at Riddler while trying to figure out the criminal's intentions. The Batman's Fandome trailer shows a UG-port explosion elsewhere in Gotham City. The sequencing strongly suggests Riddler is responsible for the explosives, and Batman's anger at the interrogation might come from needing to locate more bombs before they detonate. The bigger takeaway, however, is Robert Pattinson's voiceover openly referring to Edward Nashton as Riddler. Given how unique Paul Dano's performance comes across compared to traditional Riddlers, it wouldn't have been hugely surprising if his supervillain name was dropped entirely. The new trailer, thankfully, proves otherwise. From set photos, it's already known that Bruce Wayne attends the funeral of Don Mitchell, the Gotham mayor killed by Riddler in the Batman's first trailer. Though the second trailer's focus lies predominantly elsewhere, the shot of a suit-wearing Bruce Wayne emerging to a horde of photographers appears to take place outside the ceremony. The Batman trailer thus also shows Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman emerging from a car, but it's strange that Selina would be attending this official funeral at all. Perhaps she's there for investigative purposes, rather than to pay respects. Away from the mayor's funeral, Batman and Selina Kyle meet upon a rooftop at sunset, starring a tender moment where Catwoman assures Bruce, "Can't take care of myself." The line must mean Bruce attempts to protect Selina, but rightly gets refused by a woman more than accustomed to fending for herself on Gotham's streets. During the rooftop scene, there is a searchlight to the couple's right that could be the bat signal. Is the Batman recreating that classic scenario where Bruce's love interest uses the GCPD's beacon as a way to summon Batman? A string of quick-fire shots highlights Zoe Kravitz's action scenes as the Batman Selina Kyle. First in the sequence is Catwoman aiming a high kick at a figure obscured by shadow. Based on the windows, the setting here could be the same location Penguin is lurking elsewhere in the trailer. Maybe the unlucky target of Selina's boot is a Cobblepot gun. The trailer then reveals Catwoman wearing a long hair wig. The disguise could mean Selina is covertly investigating Penguin in the Batman, which would explain her presence at Don Mitchell's funeral. Related, what the Batman's DC Comics inspirations reveal about the story: a much clearer view of Colin Farrell's Penguin than the Batman's previous trailer. The Gotham gangster surveys his city from a high window and, as mentioned above, this could be the same building Catwoman is seen fighting in. Farrell previously admitted his role in the Batman is relatively small, but is waddling into multiple fandom trailer scenes regardless. Penguin may be sticking his beak deeper than many believe. Andy Serkis' Alfred Pennyworth failed to make an appearance in the Batman's first trailer, but Bruce Wayne's long-suffering guardian finally emerges in the Batman trailer 2, and the eye is immediately drawn toward a bloody scar upon Alfred's left brow. With Serkis playing a younger than traditional version of Alfred, it's only natural to expect a more physical butler, and the actor has hinted as much in interviews. Whether Alfred has been training Bruce or joining the criminal bashing himself remains to be seen. A brief image reveals Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne looking conspicuously inconspicuous with rectangular sunglasses and a newspaper. Reports of eye holes in the center remain unconfirmed. The Batman's Lego merchandise refers to Bruce Wayne as the Drifter, which could be a disguise he employs while gathering information on the streets of Gotham. The outfit and name imply Robert Pattinson's Batman will be utilizing traditional investigation tactics in Matt Reeves' movie, doing proper detective work rather than just swinging around and punching people, though he'll definitely be doing that too. This curious scene appears to be an investigation board of sorts, spread over the floor of the Batcave while Bruce Wayne treads barefoot through the center, trying to piece everything together. Beginning at the bottom left, Mitchell references Don Mitchell, Gotham's dead mayor and one of Riddler's confirmed victims. Coulson is Hill Coulson, the district attorney played by Peter Sarsgaard. Poor Hill is briefly seen taped to an explosive in the Batman's previous trailer, confirming Gotham's as Riddler's second victim. No more lies was scrolled all across Mitchell's office. Related, the Batman repeats a key part of Affleck's Batman motivation: the sins of my father is likely something the Riddler has written in one of his letters to Bruce, and might reference the Court of Owls, who Thomas Wayne was secretly involved with. Savage is Gotham's commissioner, played by Alex Ferns, and likely Riddler's third victim. This leaves Renewal is Ali as the only unsolved clue. The line could be Riddler Soga sting Bruce's, Renewal into Batman is a futile attempt to escape the truth. In The Dark Knight Rises, Alfred feared Bruce Wayne would vigilante himself into an early grave, so desperate to eradicate the crime, he destroys himself in the process. The Batman picks up that theory, with Serkis telling his young master, if this continues, it won't be long until you've nothing left. Several scenes later, Pattinson replies, don't care what happens to me. Evidently, the Batman's younger protagonist is still burning with rage from his parents' deaths, and will wage war on Gotham's criminals whatever the cost. Scenes filmed in the UK city of Liverpool revealed Robert Pattinson's Batman chasing villains through a graveyard on a motorcycle. The Batman's second trailer includes a brief image from this promising sequence. Given the setting, the bike chase could occur in the aftermath of a Riddler victim's burial. Speaking of promising action scenes, Batman dances across a metal stairwell, brutally beating up Penguin's henchman. The violence is realistic, hard-hitting and relentless, but shot in a very cinematic style. After finally making his way to the big boss, the Caped Crusader is begged by Penguin to take it easy, sweetheart, a line that demonstrates Farrell's casual brand of humor in the face of danger. It's quite different to past live-action depictions of Oswald Cobblepot. Related, why Robin can't be in Matt Reeves' The Batman enraged by the Joker in The Dark Knight, Christian Bale's Batman punched his way through a packed club to interrogate Eric Roberts' Sal Maroni. The Batman does something similar, with a fully suited Robert Pattinson tossing thugs aside on a crimson-lit platform in homage to Christopher Nolan's scene. Use of lethal force has often been a sticking point between Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle, including in The Dark Knight Rises. The same disagreement arises in The Batman, with Catwoman drawing a pistol from her bag. Given how violent Robert Pattinson's Batman is, it'll be interesting to see what effort he makes, if any, to stop Selina packing heat. Zoe Kravitz is also seen strolling through a club, possibly the same one Bruce invades, wearing a red wig, further proof of her investigative role in The Batman. This particular shot was released in advance of the Batman's official Fan Dome 2021 trailer, and shows the Dark Knight surveying his domain as the sun hangs low in the distance. The ornate, oppressive architecture and muted lighting is somewhat reminiscent of Joker's Gotham City, while the orange glow means the scene could follow Batman and Catwoman's rooftop rendezvous from earlier in the trailer. Fans were already 99% certain that Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and Zoe Kravitz's Selina Kyle would become romantically involved in the Batman, but the film's new trailer confirms it, with Catwoman gently caressing Batman's masked face and musing, "Maybe we're not so different. Who are you under there?" Though there is obviously a spark between the pair, their relationship may not come to fruition fully in the Batman. Bruce and Selina might instead lay foundations for romance in a future sequel. Selina's line also subtly confirms she doesn't yet know Batman's secret identity. Related, the Batman risks repeating previous movies' Gotham mistake in a stunning shot. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman leaps from a skyscraper rooftop, aiming for the cables directly opposite. It's the best display of Selina's gymnastic abilities in the Batman's trailer, and suggests Catwoman's skyline antics might be even more impressive than Batman's. Not going down without a fight, Bruce drops onto a balcony as a fiery explosion echoes behind him. By this point, it's very clear the Batman is going to be a treat visually. Hallway scenes are all the rage, with Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, Daredevil, Black Widow, and plenty others all getting super impressive sequences where body after body gets dispatched along the length of a hallway. The Batman might just top them all, with the new trailer showing Bruce beating down numerous machine gun-armed goons in a dark and dingy corridor. Aside from reinforcing how Batman's new outfit can take a bullet or two, the sequence's true strength lies in using gunfire as the sole light source, giving Batman a ghostly quality as he moves from enemy to enemy. The Batman Fan Dome 2021 trailer is generous to Batmobile fans, displaying Bruce's new ride as it burns fuel through the rear rocket, and smashes recklessly through street-side debris. The big takeaway is how normal the Batman's Batmobile looks compared to previous versions of the vehicle. The design fits Robert Pattinson's low-tech philosophy, and also draws far less attention than past Batmobiles might. The second point of note is Bruce's driving, which is, let's be honest, not great. This isn't Batman skillfully maneuvering through Gotham City. Bruce is driving with rage, ramming whatever sits in his path. The GCPD is famous for deeming Batman a criminal and chasing him instead of the numerous real criminals at large in the city, and with the Batman set near the beginning of Bruce Wayne's career, it's no surprise to see the same thing happening. The Batman's second trailer includes a sequence where Gotham's Apple's police chase Batman to the top of a clock tower, only for the vigilante to glide casually toward freedom. The scene teases some stunning aerial acrobatics from the lens of Matt Reeves. Related, the Batman now has two spin-offs copying Gotham, but can be better. This scene depicts a fleet of police vehicles, both in the air and on the ground, surrounding a large complex, perhaps a courtroom or justice building. A major incident has obviously occurred, and while the footage itself offers few clues, the Riddler is most likely to blame. In fact, this could be the aftermath from one of Riddler's big murders: Don Mitchell, Mayor, Hill Colson, District Attorney, at Mitchell's funeral, or Pete Savage, Commissioner. It's not unusual for Batman to get a little bunged up over the course of his duties, but there is something unfamiliar about the Caped Crusader covered head to toe in dirt. Pattinson's Batman has apparently been involved in some kind of disaster, an explosion or building collapse, and has barely escaped in one piece. Another interesting detail in this scene is Batman's cape. In previous movies, Batcapes have been rubberized, militaristic, or simply non-existent. In the Batman, it's just a black piece of cloth flapping in the wind. According to a TV News report featuring selfie footage of the Riddler doing murders, the serial killer is live-streaming his violent endeavors. This modus operandi fits with Riddler's belief that he's performing a service by killing corrupt officials, and it makes sense he'd want Gotham's public to witness the acts committing in their name. However, the Batman's live streaming also raises a question over the film's exact time period. Given the younger Batman and rudimentary aesthetic, many speculated the Batman may be set in the 1990s or early 2000s. Riddler hitting up his Twitch followers while committing murders proves the Batman is a modern story. Traditionally, it's Batman holding Catwoman back from going too far, but the Batman's Fan Dome trailer proves the roles are reversed on this occasion. Bruce Wayne goes to town on a criminal who is already well beaten, repeatedly punching the body without mercy. Behind him, Selina Kyle looks on, and there is clear concern upon the face of Zoe Kravitz. Related, The Batman is reviving one of Burton's best Dark Knight tricks. The Batman's second trailer shows a figure from Bane, almost certainly Robert Pattinson's Batman, removing his work clothes after a tough night. The scars on Bruce's back are visible too, undoubtedly reminders from tough training sessions and nightly beatdowns. Beyond the physical aspect, this image emphasizes Bruce's scared, troubled persona in the Batman. There is an inner devil pushing Batman forward at all costs, and between self-destruction and violence, it's threatening to consume him. An ambiguous image, but a potentially vital one to the Batman's plot. Batman lights a flare and leads a crowd of people through water. This looks to be a rescue mission, where Batman proves to the good people of Gotham that is on their side. The scene could be connected to either, or both, the previous trailer's Penguin sanitation plant shootout, and this trailer's aforementioned dockside explosion. Perhaps a group of innocents are trapped, and it's Batman who gets them out where regular emergency services fail. Once again, it's interesting how Batman is using a regular flare here, rather than some kind of super high-powered torch beam from his mask, or something. Riddler drops two major riddles toward the end of the Batman's second trailer. In the voiceover, he utters, "What's black, and blue, and dead all over", obviously a morbid twist on the classic, "What's black, white and red, dead all over". Riddler's version could carry a double meaning. On the surface, a nod to Bruce's dead body when Riddler's done with him, beaten black and blue, dead all over, but perhaps also a commentary on Bruce's psyche. The Batman is black, Bruce is blue, but both sides of him are emotionally dead. That would fit with the renewal is a Lee line from earlier. The answer could also have something to do with Gotham's police department. They were black, but police are traditionally referred to as blue, and one of them, the commissioner, could be about to die by Riddler's hand. Riddler's other puzzle is a blonde card reading "See you in hell". There must be more to this riddle than we're getting here, but the clue might connect to the previous trailer's "What's the price of your blind eye?" Related, the most comic-accurate Batman versions are Ben Affleck and Adam West in an extended version of the Penguin car chase glimpsed briefly in the Batman's first trailer. Colin Farrell believes has left the Batmobile in a hail of fire, only for the flaming car to emerge unscathed and flip him off the road. As Batman strides toward Penguin's overturned car, the Batman's fandom footage gives a true sense of the dangerous, combustible hero Robert Pattinson is playing.